what's going on, guys? It's me, Trainman, and welcome back to Trains, the Zombie Train. Yeah. Now, I'd like to point out before we do something drastic that the name of this series is the Zombie Train and not Working on the Tamarails Vale on Anaconda Railway, which is why I don't have very much remorse when I do what I'm about to do. And it comes at the end of me, or it comes at me getting towards the end of my motivation as I get farther and farther into this project and see the flaws, really. I'd like to point out, or I suppose then that this is going to be an episode about the flaws, about what went wrong, not the flaws built into the map, of course, like Tamarails Yard and El Dorado Canyon, but the things that I did to cause those flaws, and thus the sort of things that I've learned and things to avoid for those of you that are contemplating building your own routes. But here we are in a totally different game on a totally different map, where I'm going to do most of my work for a little while, because it helps in more than one place. So, I went and got all these buildings, which is why I'm testing them out, and you'll see me scroll through a ton of different stuff here, and kind of redo this town from the ground up. Well, the ground is still there. So we get these little houses. Anyways, let me get the map. And I'm going to compare the map of the Tamarails Vale and Anaconda Railway to the 2B map of the Troy and Northeastern. Now, I do want something from you guys about the Troy and Northeastern, but I'm not sure I'm ready to ask it yet. It's about towns. I will be keeping a cliffside town called Index, because essentially because I made a promise a long time ago, and I intend to keep it. Even though it's not going to show up in the Tamarails Vale and Anaconda Railway, it's going to show up. So, on this map, the biggest problem is, of course, the height difference between these buildings. And that I didn't build in a scale, for one thing. I don't have a grid system. This station is awesome, and I gotta use it somewhere. I just thought I could change the text, and I couldn't. It's disappointing. That's one of the biggest problems. I didn't build in a scale, thus compressing things too much and making grades too steep. That almost happened on the Iron Horseman route as well, when I bumped it up from 20 to 100 on the scale and kept the same distance. I think everything's going to be alright anyways, but that's beside the point. We're going over mountains, pretty much, anyways. So, that was the first problem. The second one was really, and this is at the heart of all this. I kind of wanted to use that statue, but oh well. The heart of all this was inexperience. Geiger Mountains was the other map I really got far into, and that thing was done without regard for much of anything. The grades were all over the place, the track work was kind of nuts, and I don't know, there wasn't much of a purpose to it. If I were to redo Geiger Mountains, it would probably look completely different. It wouldn't resemble the Geiger Mountains that we remember. For those of you that do remember it. But I'm not intending to rebuild Geiger Mountains anytime soon. Despite, that can live on in my memory as a great map that wasn't a great map. So the other problems with the Tamarails Vale and Anaconda Railway are fairly minor ones. They were just, inflexibility in the design. I drew this map, and then I got stuck with a scale with some crazy grades because I didn't, not because I didn't think ahead, just because I didn't know better. And, of course, then we were stuck with that scale, and it made a lot of our other grades kind of crazy as well. And that was that. There wasn't a lot of solving that. Also, some of the terrain didn't come out nice, but I'll chalk that up to an experience as well. I've been getting much better. Of course, this map right now is not a testament to how much better I've gotten. But if I wanted to show you guys something that I'm very proud of, I'd take you over to the Valley on Lee's line. But you guys will get to see that all in good time. If, for example, something catastrophic happens and we never air the Iron Horseman, God forbid, I wanted to use that cottage, but oh well. I will definitely go showing off the bits of the map anyways, because at least 3 of them so far have turned out fairly well. Other than that, it's just kind of a hoping things will get done. Also, no, maybe 4 of them. 4 of them have turned out pretty well so far. Although I may have to reallocate some projects to different people because of unforeseen circumstances, you might say. So, the Troy and Northeastern is going to rectify these problems. Or it's going to try, when I get to it. Again, I'm going to finish this, and then I'll go on to the Troy and Northeastern. Because there's a lot of prep work that I'm going to put into that, including towns and what they do. The same sort of thing that I did with the TV and ARR, except far more precise. I have a scale for the map and for the gradients. I have a general landscape before I've even thought about putting the towns, and I've been getting towns and then putting them in after the fact, and where they ought to belong, and I'm going to try and connect them even after that. So it's going to be the kind of thing where we're not working from a kind of arbitrary drawing. It's more realistic, I should say. In terms of connections, at least. So, with that, we're not going to have as crazy of gradients, of course. The elevation through the map won't change very much. I mean, it still will have a minimum of 0 and a maximum of 500 for towns, but they won't be a few towns apart. They'll be the map apart. The total size, I found a good size for maps, is about 80 by 80. And that's 800 by 800 pixels with the scale I'm using. Instead of using boxes to determine where towns will be, I'll be using grid-aligned dots, and that's on the 10, so it's easy to figure out where things are. It would have been nice to actually have a grid already, but I didn't feel like making one. Well, you could also do 1,000 by 1,000. I feel like that round number would work just as well, but I didn't decide to go with that. The Iron Horseman route map is 800 by 800 pixels. At least the original one is. At some point I want to put out a stylized one, maybe with a fog of war that comes apart as we get into the series, as I've said. Anyways, this is... I'm not going to talk about this place that much. This is just what I've been working on most recently. Really not sure where else to go from here. I needed to talk about some of the things that were going on, and now I totally lost my train. I lost my way. I'm no longer able to figure out what I wanted to talk about. This happened last week, too. Because the thing is, I don't want to talk about what I'm working on here. Not in too much detail. Okay, that road was crap. Decided to string this way. Okay, something interesting, though, right here that probably won't ever be relevant again, is I couldn't find a good bridge. And I figured, well, maybe they wouldn't have decided to build a road bridge. The railroad was here before the road, so I strung this trackhead, which is presumably abandoned, along the length of the road here, kind of intersecting it. Here, I'll raise it up a little bit so you can just barely see the rails. As in, you know, they dumped dirt on it, maybe to, or at least they kicked enough they kicked up enough dirt onto it to make it less traversable for trains, at least, and more traversable for road vehicles. I mean, you still don't have a paved road here, however. So we have that power station. Of course. This little place needs power, and it generates its own, because who would string power lines out into the middle of nowhere where we are? We're in the middle of the woods, for the record. Of course, on an island. Why they decided to put a town here, I can't really tell you. But anyways, vehicles regularly drive on the bridge. Because that's totally safe. At least the trains aren't using it. So I've got this little red sign instead of a, actual buffer stop. Why? I'm not really sure. I'm going to go ahead and decide to put in the switch stands. You may be familiar with these switch stands. So here we are. Now, what else with the TV and ARR? You guys should tell me things I did wrong, honestly. The signaling... Well, the signaling is just personal preference. I like dartboards now. The searchlights are just boring. Come on. Get with the picture, people. Gantries, dartboards, let's go. Confusing as hell. Also, the Troy Northeastern is going to be completely multiplayer compatible from the gate. And that's my hope. And instead of releasing the alphas through Mediafire, I will release them via... whatchamacallit? I will release them via the download station. Or I'll try. I'm not very adept with the download station. I decided to put a little train here, just to make it look good, I guess. I wanted to figure out what grass I had been using earlier, and I realized that definitely wasn't it. We can definitely do more terrain detail here, though. See, this place is sort of like an oversized Sesquica. Sesquica is like the one place on the TV and ARR that I was completely happy with when it was done. Arturo, yeah, actually Arturo is up there as well. But, the other guys, of course, Tamaros is, problematic. Galgora, the yards are okay. They're kind of confusing. But everything's built okay. Oh, I put the roundhouse there just to make sure it still had track, because the last time I loaded up TS12, the roundhouse didn't have track. I put the things there just for... what's the word? I totally forgot what I was talking about now. Yeah, the town was kind of shoddy in Galgora. So, seeing what other people have built, and also just kind of seeing things in real life, like the NEB&W, have kind of given me a different outlook on what it should look like, and what I'm doing wrong, and how I can fix it. Of course, this is different. This is the kind of thing I did look up. I went on maps, and I looked up some stuff, and I kind of got a good idea of what a backwoodsy sort of town like this would look like. They carved out a big flat open space, and they'd build other houses around the said big flat open space with the wood from the forest. Honestly, Sesquica wasn't exactly a statement looking at any particular kind of town. I could have definitely done it better. It just came out nice. I had to hop over to this other route here for a minute to grab the kind of grass I needed. It took a little while, I'll be honest. This is at 3 times speed, of course, and the loading was just arduous. And I won't know if we lost that many frames here or not, just because of the way it turned out. Just because of the way the video is. And then a little bug appears because something's broken, I don't know what. And there's the Troy Roundhouse, And all I need to do is go into the woods and grab the grass, and remember the name of it, Elba 3, or Erba, rather. Erba 3, and then go find it in the other menu, and then fill everything in with it. There was definitely an easier way to do this. Also, I'm going to go ahead and do the shoreline with something else, because of course that would be better. I remembered the name of that other grass somehow. We're going to have to do more with this island. I'm going to try to make this area a testament to how much I have learned, and since the beginning of the TV and ARR, you guys have kind of seen me evolve, however. Although the thing I haven't done in a long time is program. I haven't programmed AI in a long while, and I don't think I'm going to be able to do that here, because, well, firstly, the 2-foot gauge stuff is just kind of wonky. I'm going to need to replace the engine spec with something else, especially for that number 1, because the number 1 is weird. The 262s, I replaced the engine spec on one of them. Of course, the problem with it is that the tender doesn't hold any coal or water, so that's its own problem. I don't know how to edit that to make it carry coal or water, or make the locomotive identify to suck coal or water out of the tender. I don't know how that works, actually, in this game, at all. You can stick any tender behind any engine to make it work, but the question becomes well, A, how hard is it to add those kind of commodities, and this video is about to end. So, I'll see you guys next week with more of the same, and Trainman out.